You're watching the KOAO Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, Samantha Walker shares how kids in Joplin came together for a friendly game of soccer, all for a good cause.
Also, Diamond residents celebrate the opening of a new trail in its city park.
And we've got a hot day out there for us, and we will start to see some improvements. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAO Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. on this Monday morning. Now we're into the first full official week of August. And boy, it certainly felt like August last week.
Does.
Oh my gosh, it was bad. And it's going to be hot again for a little bit this week.
Yes.
A bit later.
Yeah. And it was pretty hot this past weekend. Pretty hot to be outside
playing
absolutely. Soccer. Matter of fact, it can be a very competitive sport, but in Joplin, the game is being played for a good cause.
KOAM's Samantha Walker has more on how an annual soccer tournament supports victims of child support.
I love soccer. Of course, I grew up playing, still play, I coach, I ref. I'm still heavily involved.
Soccer is something that Jake Schaefer is passionate about. So when he found a way to take the sport he loves and use it to support a good cause, it was a perfect match. He is the event organizer for an annual soccer tournament that benefits the Children's Center, a nonprofit organization that supports victims of child abuse.
The Children's Center just sticks out to me just because of what they do and what they provide to our community. Just giving the kids that have gone through some pretty difficult times in their lives, just someone to talk to. Someone to kind of be on their side to investigate further into just what they're going through.
Samuel Speck is passionate about the sport, owning a soccer store in Neosho called The Corner Kick, as well as both sponsoring and playing in the tournament with the store staff. He says it's the perfect way to help support the community.
As a local business owner, this is what we want to do. We want to grow the game of soccer, use it as we can to help affect the community in a positive way, and couldn't think of a better cause.
Teams and players from all over came to take part in the tournament. It has grown significantly from its first year, now having 22 different teams compete and well over 100 players.
I was very taken aback at first, seeing all the spectators out here, all the players out here, and just seeing everybody all together. It was pretty astounding.
Referees even volunteered for free in the hot temperatures to make sure the tournament was a success.
They're not being paid and giving up their time today, which means we're going to be able to give more money towards the charity. So really proud of them for that and greatly appreciated.
Participants say win or lose, they're happy to play because they know they're supporting a good cause.
Anytime the ball is at your feet, it's hard not to smile if you love this game, and knowing that we're all coming out doing it for a good cause just makes it even better. It's not about celebrating the goals today, it's about celebrating doing something for a great cause.
Reporting in Joplin, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Certainly a very exciting tournament there, and it's great to see them giving back to the community.
Yeah.
But also, getting some exercise and practicing their sport that they love so much.
Yeah, and it was the third year for the tournament, and they certainly hope that it can continue for many years to come.
Absolutely.
And that's, again, a great cause to be recognized and take care of there. Well, we've got another very hot day across the area. It's going to be even hotter tomorrow, but there's some good news here and there, and we're going to talk about that here in just a few more minutes. But first, this is a live look from our camera at the top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Looking pretty good so far. 7th and Range Line, you can see some clouds off in the distance, and that's how today's going to be. We'll have a few clouds here and there, but I think otherwise we're looking at relatively sunny skies, and it's going to get pretty darn hot out there. MoDOT camera at the 20th and Range Line, looking back to the north, looking good so far. Again, everybody, the cars are in motion, and as long as they're moving, that means you don't have anything to worry about on your commute to work. And sometimes you don't want something to worry about on your commute to work, especially on a Monday. You just want to get there. All right, as we look at the future track through today, unfortunately, it's just going to show us hot air. We've got a southerly breeze around 5-10 miles an hour, maybe some clouds, but we're looking at highs climbing into the upper 90s out there. And I'll push our heat index values with some of the humidity today and the dew point levels today into the lower 100s. So we don't have any heat advisories or excessive heat warnings out there, but it is going to be uncomfortable across the region. 73 in Joplin right now, 70 in Pittsburgh, and as we look at temperatures across across the area. We've had some cool spots here and there. 69 in Anderson and Stockton and Iola as well. So some upper 60s. Majority of us low mid 70s as we get the day underway. Again, maybe some clouds here or there. Otherwise, sunny skies, hot. Highs today, mid upper 90s for some of us out there. It's going to be pretty darn hot tomorrow, but there's some improvements on the way that are going to help us out over the next several days. We'll break down those details in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, families in Diamond, Missouri came together Saturday to celebrate the growth of the city park. The park's Board of Diamond held a dedication for its new walking trail, which is a quarter-mile long and helps make the park more accessible. To celebrate the new pathway, the board hosted a family fun day featuring a bounce house, a water slide, and games such as cornhole and carnival games. Community members say it was a great way for the community to come together.
So finally the walking trail is here, and we love to have like movies in the park and music and just different events for the community. So we thought this would be the perfect event. End of summer, it's hot, have the water slide, have the community come out, snow cones, we have root beer floats, food. It's all free just to everybody come and have fun.
The board says they hope to continue holding community events just like this at the finished park. The city of Joplin is warning drivers of a lane shift occurring today. The city says traffic on Connecticut Avenue between 32nd Street and the I-44 bridge will be shifted to the newly constructed pavement on the east side of the roadway. During the shift, Joplin warns that side streets will be closed for periods of time and drivers should expect delays. Well, Saturday was the first official day for the Ottawa County Free Fair. This year marks the 105th year of the event. Kicking off activities was a dog show and a fan favorite, the tractor driving contest. Now, the tractor contest features contestants showing off their driving abilities with a large farm equipment. Participants in this year's contest say the event is a great way to start off the fair while doing something they love.
Today we're doing the Ottawa County Fair Farm Equipment Operators Contest. We'll do a four-wheel wagon and a grain drill course. Four-wheel wagon is one of the hardest farm implements to back in or even pull. And we got a few great participants out here today and going to make a good go of it.
A lot of County Free Fair activities will continue through next Saturday, August 10th. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, tensions continue to rise in the Middle East as concerns of an Iranian attack on Israel increase. Topping World Watch, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky displayed his country's newly arrived F-16 fighter jets during a ceremony Sunday. Zelensky says the aircraft will bolster the country's war effort against Russia. They represent the first batch of F-16 fighter jets being sent to Ukraine by Western allies. He did not say how many F-16s have arrived in Ukraine or which countries they came from. Right now, Ukraine is dealing with both a shortage of trained pilots and a limited number of jets. At least 55 people are dead and hundreds more are injured in Bangladesh from clashes between anti-government protesters and police. Tens of thousands of protesters calling for the resignation of their prime minister yesterday. Police have been spotted shooting demonstrators with live ammunition, rubber bullets, and tear gas. The government declared an indefinite nationwide curfew and have also shut down internet services. Last month's demonstration against a quota system for government jobs left more than 200 people dead. The U.S. closely monitoring the situation in the Middle East amid fears that an Iranian attack on Israel could expand the scope of the war. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan is in Tel Aviv with the latest.
Washington is fortifying its military footprint here in the Middle East. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby spoke about the specific need today on Fox News Sunday.
Look, when the Supreme Leader says he's going to avenge, we have to take that seriously. Now, I don't know what they're going to do or when they're going to do it, but we got to make darn sure that we're ready and that we have the capabilities in the region to be able to help Israel defend itself and, quite frankly, defend our own people, our own facilities, our own national security interests.
The IDF is preparing to defend itself while expecting another attack similar to the massive strike in April when Iran launched more than 300 drones and missiles against Israel in one night alone. Iran says that was in retaliation for an Israeli strike on a diplomatic facility in Damascus, which killed a top Iranian general. Now, following the death this past week of this Hamas political leader, Iran has promised revenge, and Hezbollah's leader has promised a new phase of the fighting. At the same time, continued cross-border attacks. The Israeli military says it took out a launcher in Lebanon after this played out last night. The IDF says Hezbollah fired about 30 projectiles into northern Israel overnight. And new fighting taking place in Gaza. Hamas says that Israeli strikes in the last day killed as many as 18 people and dozens more are wounded after attacks on a hospital and an old school, but both of which the IDF claims were being used to make weapons. At the same time, long lines forming at airports as foreign nationals from countries like the UK, US, and France are being told to leave the country as soon as possible. In Tel Aviv, Israel, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Now to look at World Watch. Now let's check in with Chris for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got, unfortunately, another hot day out there for us. Started heating up yesterday. It's going to be a little hotter tomorrow as well, but there is some relief on the way. We're going to take an in-depth look at your forecast here momentarily. And coming up a little later, an archaeology team, okay? They're working in Maryland. They're digging up relics dating back to 250 years ago. We'll have that story, and I'll read a little better when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News at 7:16, coming up on 7:17 on this Monday morning. And boy, it has been a Monday. If you are just now joining us, count yourself lucky that you did not hear me not be able to read about 3 minutes ago. It was messy. Not enough coffee, too much coffee, I'm never sure. This is a live look from our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Looking pretty good out there so far. Our camera at 7th and Range Line. If you look close enough, you can kind of see some clouds off in the distance. And we could have a cloud or two today, but we're not looking at an overabundance of those. We are looking at an overabundance of sunshine today. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, looking pretty good as well this morning, as is the KDOT camera at 69 Kansas Crossing, just south of Pittsburgh. We got sunshine out there as well. The future track has got nothing really precipitation-wise anyway to show us. The only thing it's going to show us is the heat, and that's what we're going to have to contend with today. And again, maybe a cloud or two here or there, especially as we go into the overnight hours. Then we go into our Tuesday. Now, Tuesday is one of those things that's it's helpful and it's hurtful all at the same time. And here's what's going to happen. Take a look. Today, the winds are out of the south. By Tuesday afternoon, they're shifting on us. They're now starting to come out of the west, and then they will shift completely out of the north-northwest. So even though we are looking at highs into the lower 100s for a number of us tomorrow, the air will begin to get a little drier. That's what that north wind will do. It's August, so it's not going to bring in 40-degree temperatures by any means, but it will bring in drier air, which will reduce the humidity and dew point levels across the area, which will, even though it's hot, make this more of a dry heat. We're talking tomorrow heat index values only 2, maybe 3 degrees hotter than that. So it's still uncomfortable, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be more manageable. And the thing is, as we go into our Wednesday, things will gradually begin to improve across the area as temperatures start to fall back a bit. So by noon Wednesday, we're looking at upper 70s, low 80s, whereas about noon today, we're talking almost 90 degrees out there already. Then we go into the Wednesday, that's still hot. We're still dealing with 90s, maybe even some mid-90s, but it's going to get better. We're going to talk about the better forecast here in just a moment. First, though, It is 73 in Joplin. Dew point's still up there, so is humidity. It's a little muggy out there. South breeze at 5. Around the area, we've had some cool spots. We've had some upper 60s. We're starting to see those kind of phase out. We've still got Iola and Stockton at 69, as well as Anderson. The majority of us, though, low mid 70s to start the day. We get out through the morning, and we're going to have sunny skies. And again, as I mentioned, near 90 by 11 o'clock this morning. So it's going to be hot. That's an understatement. Of course it's going to be hot. It's the summertime. It's August. Highs today, mid-upper 90s for most of us. And because it's still going to be a bit muggy today, we are talking heat index values, maybe low 100s. But we don't have any heat advisories or excessive heat warnings at this point, which is good. A week ago at this time, it was nasty. Clear skies through the evening. Again, a few clouds maybe overnight. Still above normal, though. We'll fall back low to mid-70s. But then take a look. Yeah, triple digits tomorrow. Low to mid-90s Wednesday. Then we get into the weekend. First, Thursday, Friday, maybe a few morning showers or storms here or there. Nothing too crazy, but maybe some rain. And then look at these temperatures falling back into the upper 80s and low 90s out there. So considerably more manageable. We just got to get through the next couple of days of some uncomfortable heat, and then we're going to get some relief. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this. A team of archaeologists is digging up relics from the past at a house in Annapolis, Maryland that dates back 250 years.
Now, what they're finding is shining light on what life was like back then.
Weeks of digging, scraping, sifting, and carefully logging every item they find along the way.
To make sure that no archaeological information is lost.
Project archaeologist Robert Warner says it's a painstaking process.
We dig a little bit and then we have to record, we have to take measurements, pick up pencils, measure things, draw things, and then we dig a little bit more.
But fascinating nonetheless.
30 or 40 examples of printing type now from an early printing press. Something that we did not expect at all to find here.
The Hammond Harwood House on Maryland Avenue was built in 1774, commissioned by wealthy planter and politician Matthias Hammond. It was purchased in the early 1800s by another wealthy Annapolis family whose descendants would live there for the next 100 years. It's now a museum, and Barbara Goyette is the executive director. She says because it's a historic site, an archaeological dig had to be done before the museum could start a project to improve drainage.
Are there pipes that are down there? Are there posts that are down there? And while you're doing that, then you sift, and you can see them sifting through a 4mm mesh.
Unearthing things like sewing supplies, the head of a porcelain doll, and artifacts from someone's trip to the dentist 200 years ago.
A bone-handled toothbrush and a human molar with a cavity.
Even the sidewalk they probably took to get there.
Which probably dates to about the 1820s, and it is oyster shell embedded in sand.
Some of the artifacts will go on display in the museum. The dig will continue for at least another month, and Robert and his team are looking forward to what they might uncover.
The process where you pull something out of the ground that nobody has seen for 200 years, it just never gets old for me, and telling a story about it.
That's absolutely incredible. One historical record of Annapolis claims the city has more 18th century mansion structures still standing than any other city in the U.S.
Certainly fascinating. Really cool.
It truly is, you know, and it reminds me when I was living in my parents' house, we were putting some flooring into this old attic where part of it was missing. And underneath the floorboards, I'm not kidding, we found a membership card to the Byers Avenue United Methodist Church. It was dated in the 1880s. We found old glass prescription bottles that were also from that same era. Now, I don't think the house was that old, but it was just interesting, you know, to find these things that were 100 years older than I was. It was just really neat. You never know what you're going to find. Don't go digging up your entire yard, but you just never know what you might find here and there.
Certainly. Well, coming up, Joplin residents come together to celebrate the Emancipation Proclamation.
And it's going to be a hot day out there. Still got a little heat to get through before we see some improvements. We'll have another look at that forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. I'm Elise Snowy. The annual Emancipation Celebration took place over the weekend at York Park in Joplin. The celebration does not take place on Juneteenth because history tells us it took months for enslaved people in our area to hear about their new freedom. The celebration is a way to remember and celebrate the history and culture of African American people in the Joplin area. However, organizers say that doesn't mean it's exclusive.
This celebration is for everyone. We invite everyone to come down, experience some African American culture, learn about the history, learn about the achievement, and just come, and it's an all-inclusive event. It's fun. It's a family event. We have something for everyone. We have stuff for kids every night, every day. We have a car show. We have church in the park. So we have a lot of things. We try to include everyone.
Events continued until Sunday and was free to attend. Well, dozens of local businesses and organizations joined together in Miami to take part in the city's sidewalk sale, which started in 1958. Stores offered discounts and sales, and Miami's Main Street was filled with food trucks, games, and bounce houses, and even some free haircuts. The sidewalk sale is a way for local businesses and organizations to help showcase themselves to new customers and display their unique crafts or food. Participants say the annual event is a great way to help unite the community around its small businesses.
We really need to promote local businesses. All these little mom and pop shops like we have here at Chapters, we need the local community support. And so it really helps to promote and grow and encourage other local business owners to open up and have their little mom and pop shops downtown too.
The sidewalk sale also featured a fundraiser where winners could get the chance to dunk Miami Mayor Bless Parker in a dunk tank. Well, as summer break comes to an end and school supplies become more of a need, the Oswego Christian Church decided to combine summer fun with free school supplies at the Back to School Bash, which took place at Riverside Park. The event gave residents a chance to get free school supplies along with enjoying some summer activities like dunking a teacher in a dunk tank and more.
Our church cares for Southeast Kansas, and that we just want to love on them in a way that is tangible and that they can experience. And so our church members throughout the year gather supplies and then we put them together.
Oswego schools start on August 15th. And as summer break comes to an end, the Pittsburgh Aquatic Center is closing its doors to the public for the year. The pool is ending the year off with contests and prizes for guests to enjoy, like a best dive contest and other competitions using the diving board. The prizes help the pool clear out the concession stand as well.
It's a little bit bittersweet, we get to always see all the kids that come around and get to know our regulars, and so then we have to go another 9 months through the school year of not being able to see them. So we're a family environment, and they're always welcome here during the summer to come and enjoy having fun with us and our lifeguards.
The Aquatic Center will have a swim for dogs on the 14th. Now here's Chris with a look at the forecast.
Yeah, next couple of days, you may want to take advantage of your local pool if it's still open. If not, you might want to take advantage of your personal pool if you have one. And if not, just find a good garden hose. It's going to be kind of hot. Our camera 7 did Rangeline. We've got clear skies out there. You can see if you look close, it's hard to see with the daylight here, but there's a couple of clouds here and there. That may be the case for us today. Otherwise, we're looking at sunny skies. Looking good from MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. Future track through the day today, we're going to have a south-southwesterly breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. All that's really going to do is just make it a little muggier out there. It's going to be hot, too, with these temperatures going into the upper 90s. And we'll have some heat index values approaching low 100s. It's not quite at heat advisory or excessive heat warning status, which is good. We don't want to see that again, but it is going to be a bit uncomfortable. Not too bad as we start our day. 73 in Joplin, 72 in Pittsburgh, and around the region, the majority of us have been in the low to mid 70s through the morning. We've got some upper 60s, Jay, Anderson, Cassville. Otherwise, again, it's not a bad start. A little above normal, but not too terribly bad. Unfortunately, though, as I mentioned, it's going to get hot today. We're going to see temperatures going mid upper 90s, sunny skies across the region. It's going to be a little hotter tomorrow, but tomorrow starts the changes that are going to bring us cooler temperatures as we get toward the end of this week. We're going to take a look at all that in detail with the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Lisa?
All right, we'll see you soon. Well, Hurricane Debbie is set to bring historic rainfall to the southeast over the next few days. Zuri Hoffman is in Florida with the latest.
Heavy rain and flooding made roads impassable.
I tried to leave the island and go to the gym. I tried to go that way. My car couldn't make it through the water, so we turned around. And my dad came from that way. He said, for as far as like a car, it's not safe to travel off the island with the car, so we're here.
The Pacina family says they're stuck here for now, trying to make the most of the mess.
I didn't know the tropical storm was going on until it started getting real crazy. The dark sky started getting dark, and then I looked outside and I'm like, holy crap, you know, this is really getting wild. And then I'm asking my nephew and I'm like, are we safe? And he was like, oh, this happens all the time. Next thing you know, the surge starts coming up and we're freaking booking it to back to the rooms.
Tropical Storm Debbie wreaking havoc on drivers and homeowners. Here along Bonita Beach, deputies were out making sure nobody needed help, with the water making it up to people's front doors. Whether you were traveling on 2 wheels or 4, it was a tough go on the roads. Neighbors say it's been a while since they've seen it this bad.
I've been down here for a little over a year at this location, and this only happened one other time, which was Hurricane Idalia.
The question on many people's minds today, how long will it last?
I think the storm drains don't work like they used to from the first hurricane. They're pretty clogged, and the rain keeps coming and doesn't go down.
Power on the KOAM Morning News. Many Americans are feeling uncertain after the most recent job market report. In Consumer Watch this morning, the cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike says one airline should stop blaming it for flight disruptions. CrowdStrike denies it's responsible for ongoing losses by Delta Airlines after the outage. CrowdStrike says Delta's subsequent threat of a lawsuit against it to recover losses is misleading and says it will respond to any threatened litigation. CrowdStrike said it offered on-site assistance to Delta but was denied. One of the country's largest financial institutions wants to go after federal regulators over fraud settlements involving a financial transaction system. JP Morgan Chase says it's considering suing the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau for trying to force settlements in Zelle fraud cases. The banking system says the CFPB is considering enforcement action against it if it doesn't enter into a settlement. It says it does reimburse for false transactions, and the CFPB challenges should be within the law. Well, getting a head of lettuce at the store versus getting the kids ahead in the classroom. Parents say it's come down to choices in bill paying. A recent study by Intuit Credit Karma finds 50% of parents are making sacrifices in buying necessities like groceries in order to buy school supplies for their kids. And a National Retail Federation report says families with school kids will spend an average of $874 on school supplies and clothing and electronics. Well, a nosedive on Wall Street to finish the week. The Dow Jones Industrials closing down more than 600 points after a new jobs report fell far below expectations. Brian Todd takes a closer look at the numbers.
Dave Flannery runs an apple orchard in Wisconsin and, like many Americans, has anxiety about how the economy is trending.
Things are really uncertain, not knowing what's going to happen with interest rates and what's going to happen with the whole economy.
And today, the uncertainty only grew. The U.S. government out with its jobs report, saying the economy added about 114,000 jobs last month, less than expected, and the unemployment rate is now the highest it's been since October of 2021.
It's another element of evidence on top of a long string of evidence that we've had that the labor market is softening. Consumers have been telling us for quite a while now that the job market isn't as hospitable for job seekers as it was a year ago, 2 years ago.
The job news sent the stock market tumbling today, but the market had already taken some serious hits in the few days prior to this report. Why?
The alarm that you see in the stock market and potentially among consumers is about worries
that things could potentially get worse.
Inflation has fueled Americans' psychological fears about the economy. A Gallup poll taken last month found 7 in 10 Americans believe it's getting worse.
I got adult children now who are starting out, and how can they be able to survive with what it costs in today's world?
Inflation is really hitting a lot of people in a hard way.
American households are still understandably unhappy about the economic situation. A key reason for that is because that cart of groceries that used to cost them $100 now costs them $130.
And new questions are being raised about whether the Federal Reserve has waited too long to lower interest rates.
This puts even more pressure on the Federal Reserve to cut rates in September. Markets widely expect that the Fed will cut rates by at least a quarter point at its next meeting.
But analysts also say we shouldn't overreact, that the U.S. economy is still very strong.
The fundamentals of the economy actually are quite solid today. Inflation has been high, but it's come way down, and it's now close to the Fed's 2% objective. This is a good labor market for people who want to work and are willing to seek those opportunities, even if that may mean, for example, moving locations.
In the meantime, analysts offer some practical advice for us as we ride out this uncertain period.
It's always good to have a nest egg. It's always good to make sure your job prospects are strong. I wouldn't do anything hasty, don't sell all your stocks.
And those are our top consumer stories. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:44 now on this Monday morning. This is a live look from our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Looking pretty good so far. Same from our camera at 7th and Range Line. Again, just a couple of clouds here and there, and that's really how today is expected to be. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. Look at all those cars. Boy, this morning there wasn't a single one out there. Now we've got tons of them and more on the way. Same with the KDOT camera at 69 and Kansas Crossing. It was pretty deserted earlier. Commuters now getting their Monday underway on their terms. Now for the next few days, there's no precipitation to show on the future track, but there's some changes I want to talk about. First today though, we'll have the south wind. It's going to bring in more muggy air. It's going to be uncomfortable out there today. We're going to go upper 90s for a lot of us, and we're going to put those heat index values right around the low 100s. So again, it's hot, but it's not at that point where we were a week ago with 115 degree heat index values. As we head into the evening, we're still going to have that southerly breeze. We're still going to be a bit above normal. We're falling back into the 70s. Tuesday, tomorrow, is going to be very hot. But you see how these wind arrows start to shift? They're no longer out of the south by noon. They're starting to switch out of the west. And by the afternoon and evening, they are out of the north. So even though, we're looking at highs, upper 90s, lower 100s on our Tuesday, the north wind will bring in drier air, just as it did at the end of last week, that kind of helped cool us down just a little bit. So it's still going to be hot out there, don't get me wrong, but drier air. So we're talking heat index values by tomorrow afternoon and evening, only 2-3 degrees warmer than the air temperature. As we go into our overnight hour, Tuesday into Wednesday, take a look at some of these temperatures. Now we're seeing more upper 60s and low 70s across the area. As we go into Wednesday, it's going to be hot again, but it's going to be a slower climb to that point. Today, we're expected to be near 90 by noon. By noon tomorrow, Wednesday rather, we're looking at upper 70s and low 80s. And it's still going to get hot. Like I said, later in the day, we're still going to see some low to mid 90s, maybe some upper 90s a little further west, but it's going to be a gradual improvement. Right now, we are clear in Joplin, 73, still a bit muggy, dew point 64, humidity 73% with the south breeze at about 5. That south wind will be about 5 to 10 today. Temperatures this morning, Anderson and Jay still in the upper 60s. The rest of us in the low to mid 70s for the most part this morning. As we take a look at our morning, it's going to be sunny. Again, maybe a cloud or two. And it's going to be hot, near 90 by 11 o'clock this morning. Our highs today, low, mid, upper 90s, so a range of 90s, but most of us will be in the mid to upper 90s today. And again, those heat index values approaching about 100 degrees, maybe a little above. Hot through the evening hours, 82 by 10. A few clouds overnight will fall back into the low to mid 70s. And again, tomorrow it's going to be hot. We're going to talk low 100s. Low to mid 90s for most of us Wednesday. Maybe some morning showers or storms Thursday and Friday, but take a look at those temperatures. As we head into the end of this week and the weekend, we fall back into the upper 80s and low 90s out there. So considerably better, a lot closer to normal. So a little relief on the way. We just got to get through the next couple of days and we'll get some improvement out there. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, it was a doggone good time for the thousands who packed to California Beach this weekend for the World Dog Surfing Championship.
John Ramos checked out the fierce four-legged competition.
They came from all over to Lindemar Beach to catch a glimpse of a wonder of nature. Not the whales, although they were here too, but something even more amazing. Dogs on surfboards.
But this is way better than what I was expecting. It's adorable. I was saying it's like the happiest place on earth.
The World Dog Surfing Competition was back in Pacifica. About 15 surfing canines showed up to compete for a title that no one really worried about.
For me, it's not competition. For me, it's just watching all the dogs surf.
There were 4 divisions, small, medium, large, and extra large, which included Rippin' Rosie. Her owner, Steve Drotter, is a lifelong surfer who says Rosie lives to be out on the waves with her buddy.
There's not that many people that actually get to surf with their dogs, and the people that do have such an amazing bond, and it's a gift.
I grab the surfboard, she starts crying like she wants to go. So ever since then, it's just been like, all right, you're the surfer in the family.
The competition has judges, and they insist there are things they actually evaluate.
Some do tricks, some, have costumes on, so it's a wide variety.
So basically there are no standards. It's just whoever is the most fun to watch.
Whether we win or not, tomorrow morning, Rosie and I will be surfing at Pleasure Point together. So we win no matter what.
Few things in life bring more joy than having a dog. But it seems like some dogs have more fun than others.
That's impressive.
It really is. It's awfully cute, and it's really funny too.
Oh yeah, the one that was surfing backwards. Come on now, that was cool.
I can't even do that. I can't even do that. They don't even know what's going on.
No, they're just having a good time, and that's all you need to do to have a good day. And so hopefully today, even though it's going to be a bit on the hot side, you can have a good time with whatever you're doing. Let's start with the future track. We're just going to talk about what we're expecting, some changes. So today it's going to be hot, going to be a little bit muggy out there as well. Winds will be out of the south at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Could have a cloud or two pass through, and we're talking temperatures mid-upper 90s for most of us. Above normal tonight again, low mid 70s for most of us for our overnight lows. As we go into our Tuesday, it's going to be hotter, but the winds begin to shift. By noon, they're out of the west, and by the afternoon and early evening, they're now out of the north. So, of course, in August, it doesn't mean it's going to get cold, but the air will dry out a bit. So even though we're looking at highs for a lot of us in the lower 100s as we go into our Tuesday, the air will be dry. Heat index values will be barely noticeable, which is great, especially compared to last week. That'll also put temperatures a little cooler for our Wednesday night, and as we head into Wednesday afternoon, a little slower to get to those 90-degree readings out there. Upper 70s, low 80s by noon on Wednesday. We'll have one more look at your forecast news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. As summer break comes to an end, school supplies become more of a need. The Oswego Christian Church decided to combine summer fun with free school supplies at the Back to School Bash, which took place at Riverside Park. The event gave residents a chance to get free school supplies along with enjoying summer activities like dunking a t-shirt and a dunk tank and more. Well, the park's Board of Diamond held a dedication for its new walking trail, which is a 1/4 mile long and helps make the park more accessible. The celebration included a family fun day featuring a bounce house, a water slide, and games. The board says they hope to continue holding community events just like this at the finished park. And the annual Emancipation Celebration took place over the weekend at Ewart Park in Joplin. The celebration is a way to remember and celebrate the history and culture of African American people in the Joplin area. However, organizers say that it does not mean it's exclusive.
It's going to be a hot one for us today. Most of us mid, maybe even upper 90s across the region. Sunny skies, a few clouds here and there. South breeze around 5 to 10. A few clouds through the evening and overnight. Will fall back above average, low to mid 70s across the region. Our Tuesday, unfortunately, looks to be pretty toasty as well. Many of us upper 90s, lower 100s out there. However, winds shift out of the north, bringing in drier air. And as we head toward the end of the week, temperatures begin to fall. Maybe a few isolated showers or storms Thursday and Friday morning. And then other side of that, temperatures upper 80s and low 90s. So we just got to get through a couple more days of yes. And then it will be
all right. Sounds like a plan. Well, Pacific Park on the Santa Monica Pier is saluting Olympic athletes with the Ferris wheel's dazzling light display. Pacific Wheel is the world's only solar-powered Ferris wheel featuring 174,000 LED lights.
The Ferris wheel soars 9 stories high and lifts riders more than 130 feet above the Pacific Ocean to offer extraordinary views of the Southern California coastline from its location on the internationally popular Santa Monica Pier. I will never be on a Ferris wheel. I don't do heights.
Oh, really?
I can't.
Well,
I cannot even.
Right.
Don't forget, it's archaeological, by the way.
Oh, fantastic.
Man, that was a tough word. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back at noon.
Have a great morning.